Thank you so much for joining me today for this wonderful yoga practice with a group from Breastfriends in Tigard, Oregon. They are a support group for survivors of breast cancer and for their families and their support networks as well. They're very, very responsive. I've linked their website in the description box below. So please feel free to check it out and share their information as well as this video with anybody that you think might be able to benefit from it. So we're going to practice from our chair today. I'll also offer some options for standing if that is something that you're up for today, but if you're really tired or you're not feeling well, feel free to stay seated. As always, yoga is for you. Yoga means yoke in Sanskrit, and it's yoking of the body, the mind, and the spirit. And if you are not comfortable doing anything that I suggest you do, feel free to skip it or do something that you think will feel better, because this is all about getting to know yourself and love yourself and take care of yourself. So we're gonna start today in a seat with our feet on the ground. Nice sturdy seat that's not gonna slip out from underneath you. I have mine on my yoga mat, so I'm not gonna be slipping and sliding. And we'll just begin by inviting ourselves to be present for our practice. So that means kind of letting go of the distractions around you, all of the activity you've had so far today and the stuff that you're planning for later on. And for me, the best way to become present is to come into my physical body. Another way you might become present is by just noticing the surroundings that you have right around you right now. Just looking around your space, and then maybe closing your eyes and listening to what you can hear. Not just the sound of my voice, but maybe sounds around your home or in your neighborhood. You might begin to tap into your touch sensation, so feeling where your hands are resting on your body, noticing how your feet feel on the floor, noticing how your chair supports you. And then finally dialing into your breath. It might be easiest to come right to the tip of your nose. Notice that inflow and outflow as you breathe. Very subtle sensation there. Or it might be more beneficial to you to just focus on the expansion and the softening of your body as you breathe. We're going to do a little movement here today to take care of our lymphatic system. So the lymphatic system consists of about 40% of the water in our bodies. So as you are practicing presence, feeling your breath, feeling your body, noticing your surroundings and listening, you might just kind of contemplate that fluidity that we each share. Our blood system, our lymphatic system, much of the tissues of our body, about 70% consist of water. And water is one of the elements that is correlated with our yoga practice right here in the low belly, just underneath the belly button. So you might take one or both hands and just feel your breath here at the low belly. Now the second chakra is the Svadhisthana chakra. It is aligned with the element of water. It is also aligned with our emotions, our vitality, our creativity, exploration, and adventure. And so just thinking about that flow and tapping into your own flow. And with the lymphatic system, we can do some movement to help move the lymph around the body. And the lymph is then filtered by the lymph nodes. But if those lymph nodes are clogged up, then there's nowhere for the lymph to go. So we're going to start by doing a little self-massage for the lymph nodes, a little bit of tapping to kind of help clear and support those lymph nodes before we begin to move the lymph around the body. So we've got low pressure places in the upper body and high pressure places in the lower body, meaning that it flows down. Basically, everything flows down. So we want to be able to clear everything in the upper body before we start moving things upward. Also, one of the major drains for lymph flow is in the left side of the neck. So we're going to start right here. So bring your right hand to your left collarbone. At the base of the neck, above the collarbone, maybe on top of it, a little bit below, and just begin to make some gentle circles here with the flat of your hand. Or you might rub up and down or side to side, just noticing what feels good to you. If you are making circles, go ahead and reverse the direction of your circles. Just very gently. And then we're just going to tap the whole hand 8 or 10 times. And then we'll do the other side. So taking your left hand to the right collarbone and just noticing how gentle you can be with yourself. Again, if you're doing circular movements, make sure you reverse your circles. If you're rubbing up and down, make sure you be gentle. And you can do this over or under your clothing. And then we'll tap a few times. And then the next one we want to get into is right at the top of the neck. So you can do this one at the same time on both sides of the neck. It's going to be under the earlobe, right behind the hinge of the jaw at the top of the neck. And you may even be able to feel your lymph nodes in here. It might be tender, especially if you've been ill. And we're going to do the same thing here. So just gentle circles, maybe with 1 or 2 fingers, or rubbing up and down, or side to side. And if you're doing the circles, again, make sure to reverse those circles. And then just very gently, little tapping movements here. And then just take a moment here to notice what you notice. Notice if you have any sense of stimulation there, any sensation at all. And then the next one we're going to get to is the belly. We're going to have one hand over the belly button and one hand just above. You can do this one seated or you can come to stand if you prefer. And we're going to do the same thing here. So again, you can kind of do side to side, or you can make circles. And if you're going to make circles, I suggest you go to the right and down first. Maybe 3, 4, 5 circles in this direction. And then in the opposite direction. So this helps support the digestive system as well, because we've got that ascending colon on the right and the descending colon on the left. And then we're going to do the same thing here. So just pat your belly. We've got lots and lots of lymph nodes here. We have about 600 or 700 lymph nodes in the body. 1/3 of them is above the collarbones and another third is in the belly. So interesting to know. And then the next place is the groin. So you could do this from seated, but it will probably be easier to stand. And again, you can do both sides at the same time. And it's the groin is right here at the hip flexors where you kind of your pants fold in. And again, we're going to do rubbing side to side, up and down our circles. And then opposite direction if you're doing those circles. And then little tapping. Just helping to wake up and clear out those lymph nodes. And then the last place is behind the knee. If it's difficult to get it from standing, if it's hurtful for your back, you can definitely do this from seated. And again, you can do both sides at the same time. If you have both arms, some people don't, so then go ahead and do one at a time, or maybe you have had some surgery or some soreness, so feel free to do one at a time. Same thing, we're gonna just do behind the knee, just above the knee, in and just below. So the top of the calf, the bottom of the hamstring, and the back of the knee. And then again, some gentle tapping. Now that we have kind of worked to unblock our lymph nodes, we want to shake it up. So you could shake it up from your chair here, just kind of bouncing on the balls of your feet, shaking out your arms, or you could come to stand and really shake it up. Shake it all around, get all that lymph moving. And we'll shake here for a full another 15 or 20 seconds, which doesn't sound like a really long time, but it might feel like a long time. But think about, we sit a lot, we spend a lot of time sleeping at night when we're not getting any kind of movement. So 15 or 20 seconds doesn't seem like a big deal when we're just kind of resetting that nervous system. And then we'll slow it down. And just take a moment here to notice what you notice. You might notice some tingling in your body, some sense of aliveness. You might be a little cooler or a little warmer. And just coming back to stillness and back to your breath, back to presence. And then I'm going to go ahead and come down to my seat a little bit. And now that we have unclogged the lymph nodes, now that we have moved the lymph around the body and shaken things up, we're going to get a little bit of yoga movement here. So let's just begin by finding that tall spine again. Take an inhale right here. And as you exhale, just turn to look over your right shoulder. And then inhale back to center and exhale to turn to look over your left shoulder. And then just at your own timing, a couple more times to each side. And just thinking about that flow of lymph in your body. How we are all liquid. Last time to the left is the last time. We'll come back to center, and then we'll just take the ears to the shoulder. So inhale right here at center with a tall spine and a long neck, and then we'll exhale, just take the right ear towards the right shoulder, and then inhale center and exhale left shoulder. And again, twice more to each side. Let your shoulders be soft and relaxed. Oh, speaking of shoulders, I forgot one point on our lymph massage program. So this would have been after the upper neck region. So coming to the shoulders here, one hand at a time. Let's take the right hand and we're going to just come here, right to the place where the shoulders and the pecs meet. Circles, rub up and down, and then tap. And then same thing on the opposite side. And just find your flow, whatever that is for you. And then we'll tap there. So if you're doing this video again someday, try to remember Christine messed it up. Low neck, collarbones, upper neck, shoulders, belly, groin, knees. That's the appropriate way to do it. You're not going to mess anything up today that I skipped one, but just for future reference, just to get things flowing. And then we'll move those shoulders. So let's inhale and shrug them up towards the ears and exhale to lower them down. And just a couple more times, and just nice, easy movement here. We're not just straining or pushing or forcing, just very gentle motion. And then let's roll the shoulders up and back and down. And you might lift your arms from your knees and let yourself flow here. And then let's inhale, open up your right arm out to the right, and it can be low or at shoulder height. And as you exhale, we're going to cross the arm across the body. Now the shoulders and the hips are going to stay forward, and you can bring your left hand to support your right arm here. And then here, try to notice your breath. And see if you can feel a little bit of a stretch in the back of the shoulder, the upper back. Couple breaths here. And then inhale to open that right arm up again and exhale to release. And then we'll do the same thing on the opposite side. So we'll inhale, left arm out to the side. Exhale, only the arm is moving. You can bring your right hand to support your left arm here and just see if you can feel your breath up in your shoulders, maybe in your upper back. Couple breaths here. One more inhale, exhale to release. And again, we'll just roll the shoulders up and down and back a few times. We're gonna go ahead and come to standing. So press into your heels, and you don't have to come to standing if you want to stay seated, you sure can, but just to give yourself an opportunity to get a little more full body movement. Press into your heels, lift up off your chair. We're gonna do that again. So inhale, right arm out to the right. Exhale to draw it across. You might support yourself here. And then right away, inhale out and exhale down. And just notice one of our beautiful participants here just took a sip of water, so make sure you're hydrating really, really well, especially after these lymph movement practices, but all the time, really. Inhale, left arm out. Exhale across. Maybe hug it in. And then inhale to release. And then we're just going to kind of go side to side. So inhale, right arm out and across. Inhale out, exhale down. Inhale, left arm out. Exhale across. Inhale, left arm out. And exhale down. Now you could stick with that, or you might take your feet out a little bit wider and find a flow. Might even feel a little like dancing. Just maybe press into your right foot as you reach that right arm out. Press into the left foot as you reach the left arm out. You might even take your legs out a little wider And move both arms at the same time. And maybe as you reach in one direction, you might lift the opposite heel up off the ground. And if you want a little bit more, you could really bend into those knees, maybe take a little bit of a squat. And again, you can be doing this right from your chair. So whatever feels good to you. One more time to each side. And then we'll come all the way back to center. Bring your feet back underneath your knees or hips. Feel your feet on the ground. Be present with yourself and notice what you feel. Really tune into the subtle sensations of the body and sense what's going on for you. And then we're going to find a little bit more rotation here. So again, taking the feet out a little wider than hip width, we're just going to kind of spin to each side. There's a little bit of a little kid energy here. So you might just think about, little girl wearing a skirt, maybe showing it off. And just let your arms hang free. And again, with the legs, you can keep them nice and stable here and pretty much at a little wider than hip width, or you could take them out a little bit wider and you could maybe even bend into your knees a little bit and lift your heels as you go from side to side. And you might even notice your arms as they sort of flail around here are tapping your own body. Patting yourself on the shoulder or the back. And again, this can be done from the chair, mainly if you don't have arms on your chair. And just a couple more times to each direction. And then just slow it down. Bring your feet back under your knees or hips. And we'll find Tadasana pose, mountain pose. So feeling your feet on your ground. Little tiny bend in the knee just so they're not locked. Neutral pelvis, so we're not sticking out too far or too dipped down, but nice and neutral here with the heart over the pelvis. Same thing with the shoulders. We don't want to be hunched too far forward or way too far back, but we're just nice and straight and tall here. And then turn your palms forward so your heart lifts, and then gently tuck your chin. Lengthen the back of your neck, head over the heart, heart over the pelvis, pelvis over the knees. And again, find your breath. Maybe feel a little taller. Can you press into your feet as you draw the crown of your head up towards the sky and really lengthen the body? And see if you can tap into that sense of vitality, fluidity, creativity. And then when you're ready, we'll all go ahead and come on back down to our seats. And we'll do a little diaphragmatic breath work. So again, the lymphatic system doesn't have its own pump. The closest thing it does have, though, is the diaphragm. So when we inhale, that big muscle drops down. It presses all the abdominal muscles out. And as we exhale, it lifts up like a little parachute and it presses all of the air out. And you might even take your one or both hands right here at the bottom of the sternum and see if you can feel that expansion and softening or the up and down motion of the diaphragm as you breathe. We actually have two diaphragms, another at the pelvic floor. So as you inhale and all those abdominal organs kind of push out and down, the pelvic floor holds them all up and in. So you might even notice a sense of expansion at the pelvic floor as you breathe in, and a sense of contraction as you breathe out. Those two diaphragms are mirroring one another, expansion and contraction. So just feeling into that subtle sensation. As you breathe in, the diaphragm drops down and looks almost like a smile. And like I said, as you breathe out, it comes up and looks a little bit like a parachute shape. So just tapping into that sense of that inhale with a smile, maybe even bring a smile to your physical face. And exhale, letting everything lift up. We're not just moving the breath here, but also the lymph. Keeping long in the spine, soft in the shoulders, nice long neck. Just a few more breaths here. Really intentional breaths. And then just let that practice go and come back to your regular breath. We're going to do a little muscle relaxation exercise here to end. So thinking about your right leg, and you could do this seated or standing or even laying down if you like. We're just going to extend that right leg and we're going to curl the toes in, squeeze the calf muscles, squeeze the thighs. If you can hug everything in towards your bones, and then release. And then we'll switch to the left leg. So you might extend the left leg out long. With an inhale, squeeze the toes, squeeze the calf, squeeze the thigh, everything squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And exhale to release. And then we'll do the same thing, right arm. You might lower it down to your side or even resting in your lap. Curl your fingers in, squeeze your forearm, squeeze your upper arm, your biceps, squeeze, 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 and inhale. And exhale, release. And then the left arm, squeeze those fingers in, squeeze the forearms as if you're hugging everything to the bone. Squeeze, 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 and inhale. And exhale to release. And then we'll squeeze the face. So just make all the faces, squeeze your eyes, squeeze your jaw, squinch everything together. And exhale to release. And then we'll do everything all together. So squeeze that right leg, squeeze the left leg, squeeze both arms, squeeze the face. Inhale here. And exhale, release. And just come back to your beautiful breath. Come back to your tall seat. And just notice whatever sensations are happening for you right now. One of my favorite yoga teachers is Barry Reisman, B-A-R-R-I-E, Reisman, just like it sounds. You can find her online. But she sends out a newsletter once a week, and she quotes the Tao, which is a spiritual publication. Nothing in the world is as soft and yielding as water. Yet for dissolving the hard and inflexible, nothing can surpass it. She goes on to say, in yoga, this principle comes alive. So as you continue to breathe here with your eyes closed, if that feels comfortable for you, sitting tall, just feeling your breath, I invite you to just meditate on these words. Our work is not to fight reality, whether that's tight hamstrings in a forward fold or a distracted mind in meditation, but to soften and to yield to it. Just as we learn to breathe through a challenging pose rather than force our way into it, we can learn to move through life's obstacles in the same way, surrendering instead of resisting. Consider situations in your life that feel like being stuck between a rock and a hard place. Maybe it's a strained relationship or a career choice. Instead of hitting yourself against a proverbial wall, what would it be like to respond more like water? What might change if you approached your challenges the way a flowing river approaches stone? Whether water neither stops when it meets an obstacle, nor does it barrel its way through. Instead, it flows around it, perfectly adapting to circumstances with no resistance whatsoever. Maybe we can all imagine what it would be like if we met all of our challenges this way. I invite you to, in the tradition of yoga, bring your hands to Anjali Mudra at the heart, palm meeting palm, and perhaps tilting your chin down towards your chest in respect and reverence for how magnificently intelligent our bodies are, how amazing our minds are, how truly gifted we are with emotion. The light that is within me honors that same beautiful light that is within each of you. Namaste.